The Athletic came out with a survey it did of anonymous NBA players. 108. It talked to 108 players. That's pretty good sample size, Rob. That's about a quarter of the league, roughly, right? And they asked them all types of questions. I'll go through a few of them. Who's the MVP, Rob? Who you think the players voted for?
Embiid.
Joel Embiid, 50%. Nikola Jokic, 25.5. Giannis, 15.7. Jason Tatum got 3.9. Let's see what's next. Who's the best defender?
Players get it wrong a lot, too.
He won by these. It seems like they took these seriously, though.
I'm just saying,
Drew Holiday, 28.7%. Lou Dort was second with just 11%. So now this year's Defensive Player of the Year, Jaren Jackson, only got 4% of the vote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He was eighth, just ahead of Draymond Green. Who you build, if you're building a roster, who would you sign first? This guy got 52% of the vote, Rob.
Giannis,
yes. Second, Jokic, 8.7. Luka, third. Steph, Joel, Tatum. Who's the most overrated? We did that. That was Trae Young. Who's the most underrated player? Give you a hint. I said his name earlier. Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday, really?
That's a decent. That's not bad. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He won't be. I don't know if he's still underrated or not, but he's a great player. All right, and then Rob, they got to this. Who is the greatest player of all time? Michael Jordan got 58.3% of the vote. LeBron got 33%. Kobe got 6.8%. And Bill Russell got, I don't know what, it's a small percentage. And this is the one I scoffed at and loved the dude. What was a great player, but Tracy McGrady.
What do you mean? What he voted for himself? What?
He was fifth. It was Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Russell and McGrady were actually tied for fourth.
Chris,
that hurts the survey. I'm sorry. They should have left that part out.
Where's Kareem? Kareem not even on the list?
Kareem, again, love Tracy.
Where's Kareem, Chris?
There's about how many guys should be on there before Tracy? I mean, Tracy just was hurt too much, never won the playoff series.
That is comical, and that's what I was telling you about players getting it wrong. What a ridiculous list. Can you imagine being Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who, Chris, is walking around this earth as the greatest basketball player of all levels? High school, Power Memorial in New York, college, UCLA, and then had a great NBA
greatest
career.
Basketball life, probably.
Am I right?
You just high school,
he doesn't
college,
get one vote.
If you take the three levels, yeah. I mean, they should have left that they should have just left it at MJ, LeBron, and Kobe.
I mean, what an embarrassment.
All right, but here's what we wanted to get to.
That's
Rob.
the new media you want to follow? I'm just asking you guys. That's the new media you want to follow? Okay.
When they did this survey 4 years ago, which was the last time they did it, Michael Jordan has 73% of the vote, and LeBron only had 11.9%. I told you, now it's 58% for MJ and 33% for LeBron. Rob, this is my theory on this. And everybody knows you and I think Jordan's the GOAT and LeBron's second. But I have said, even though it wouldn't be my view, that, Rob, our generation, well, I should say my generation and then your generation. You're a generation ahead of me. My generation and your generation.
How am I a generation ahead of you? You know, a generation is 25 years. Okay, I'm just saying.
Our generation dominates the GOAT discussion right now. And we say it's Jordan. You know this as well as I do, Rob. The previous generation doesn't say it's Jordan. They don't really say it's anybody. I don't think there is a consensus.
They didn't have that conversation, so that's why.
Right. When we were covering the league, I don't ever remember GOAT conversations. You know, it was a different landscape.
You got 3 hours to kill in the morning on TV.
Right.
Okay, let's just be honest.
Exactly.
Okay.
You didn't have national radio shows even. Yeah, I never remember hearing that. But if you ask Oscar Robertson or Kareem, They're, at least from what I've seen, they tend to say, there is none. You can't say him. So they don't necessarily say it's Jordan. They could name a Bill Russell, Kareem. They might name a few guys. Maybe some name Jordan, but it's not like our generation. Our generation, Jordan is pretty much unanimous, essentially. I have said this, though, Rob, that when the younger people, the Generation X, some millennials, but particularly Generation X, when they are controlling the conversation, and I'm not even sure what the Generation X's are, but the younger people, when the younger people are controlling the narrative and the discussion, and they're on these shows, they got the radio shows and all that, I have said it's very likely, Rob, that they will recognize LeBron as the GOAT, as we do Jordan. And this, to me, is a little bit of an example of that. Because obviously the league is younger than it was 4 years ago. And now all of a sudden LeBron's got more to vote. 3 times as much as he had before.
Yeah, but I disagree. I totally disagree. And from this standpoint, people still know who Babe Ruth is and still consider him one of the greatest players. He's not. You might not have he's a good. No. But I'm just saying. But nobody's forgotten Babe Ruth.
Nobody's gonna forget Jordan.
Hold on, no. Let me make my point. Let me make my point. And we saw after The Last Dance on a survey of younger fans who use the internet and use social media, they picked Michael for every category, even one or two that should have been in LeBron.
Right.
Okay? So I don't believe that. And the longer LeBron plays without winning, the more he hurts his legacy. So if he plays 3 more years, Chris, and doesn't win, and he has 4 championships in 24 years or whatever that number may be, I don't think that even what made him go up is he became the all-time leading scorer. So people are going to give you points for that. Yeah, I do. I don't think that.
I think that's some of it. Yeah.
I think it's recent. It happened this year. It's on the minds of the people who are voting because they just saw it. I don't believe that. I think the poll after The Last Dance was an indication to me more so because that was not the old heads voting. They're not doing the social media posts. They're not on ESPN.com doing those things the way that the younger generation. And for them to watch that and overwhelmingly look at Michael Jordan and say, you know what? Man, that dude was unbelievable. Man, that dude never lost in the finals. Man, that dude won 10 scoring titles. And that doesn't mean that LeBron's a bum because, I have him second.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I think the longer he plays without winning, the longer it hurts him. And I don't know what the end's going to look like, but I do not believe that.
I think you make some interesting points. I do agree with you that there are things helping Jordan even with this younger generation. One is The Last Dance, Rob, and you're right. And that was recent. So right after that,
you remember that?
I don't remember what the number was. It was like 70% or something like that.
And then remember there was a category.
People, they went by age. So it was a lot of the younger people were voting Jordan. So I'll give you that. I also think, Rob, this movie, it may not be huge, but this movie Air is probably going to help him. And his shoes.
You just said
We've talked about it. They're bigger than they were even when he was in the league.
When I got my first pair, they're way bigger.
They're way
bigger. And all of these kids know, Chris, every time I'm at an airport and a teen, a 12-year-old, 15-year-old, or 17-year-old, they see me wearing my Travis Scotts or something. They stop me. They're like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, those are so fresh.
Old dude in these Travis Scotts.
Yeah, right. Dude, you know what? Chris, it's funny you say that. During the pandemic, I was on a plane. And I had on, I think, the Travis Scotts. And there was a guy, we were sitting, there was a seat between us in the exit row. So I went to the bathroom, came back, and I guess he saw my sneakers when I got up and walked or came back. And he was like, he just looked at me and tilted his head and said, "You sporting Travis Scotts?" My man.
How old was he? I mean, roughly.
In his 20s, he just was like impressed. He was like,
No, I believe it. I believe
you're like Chris.
Right.
You're sporting Travis Scott.
Right. No, but that I agree with that, Rob. Jordan has become mythical. And I don't mean that he's like viewed as better than he actually was, because obviously he was fantastic. But Rob, like you brought up Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth is mythical. We never saw Babe Ruth.
No.
But like you said, he's mythical. Muhammad Ali is mythical. I was telling Rob G earlier, I mean, you could make an easy argument that Ali wasn't the greatest of all time.
Easily.
He has 5 or 6 losses,
Roper dope. He was getting beat up like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, right. The toll that it took on him. CompuBox isn't. I love Ali, but I'm just saying CompuBox is not fond of Ali, like the analytics and all that, the stats. But he's mythical. And Jordan has become mythical. And I do agree with you, right? Like to surpass Jordan, I believe somebody's going to have to do something that's just unheard of. Now, I don't know, though. LeBron, like I said, we'll see, because when the millennials, he already jumped up 33%. But you make an interesting point about the longer he plays, because I agree, when we nitpick, if he's only got 4 rings in 24 years, I mean,
right.
that doesn't compare to 6 and 15. But I don't know that everybody will look at it that way. He's making individual noise. He's building a longevity argument. And he's going to be at such a high, like he's going to be obviously the all-time leading scorer already. Assist, he's in the top 5, I believe, or will be for sure. He's going to have individual numbers that are huge.